Good afternoon. I am Michelle Partridge Lane, and I am proud to serve as the 2019 chair of the Chesapeake Division of the Hampton Roads Chamber. I have the pleasure of working for Russell's Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric, an amazing company that has called the great city of Chesapeake home for over 42 years. On behalf of the Chesapeake Division and the entire Hampton Roads Chamber, I would like to welcome you to the fourth of our State of the City luncheons in 2019. As you can see, today's luncheon is being televised live, so I would ask you to please silence your cell phones. Our good friends at WCTV Chesapeake Television will be showing this luncheon on cable and online, so everyone keeps smiling throughout the whole program. We believe that the Chamber has something for everyone. Great networking events, educational programs, luncheons with our state and federal officials, awards programs, and public advocacy initiatives. So if you aren't already a Chamber member or want to learn how you can get your business more engaged in the region, please feel free to see me, a Chesapeake board member, or our Chamber membership team. One of those networking programs that the board brought back in 2019 is the Chesapeake Chamber Connect. We meet the second Wednesday of every month at my office from 8 to 9:15 a.m. I invite you to join us one month and get to know some of your fellow Chesapeake businesses a little better. The Hampton Roads Chamber means business and works to be an impactful advocate and powerful economic partner while acting as an inspiring igniter for the region. Now it is my pleasure to welcome Brian Stevens, President and CEO of the Hampton Roads Chamber, to the podium.
Thank you so much, Michelle, and thank you for your leadership this year for the Chesapeake Division of the Hampton Roads Chamber. Your leadership is really showing as the Chesapeake Division is growing, becoming more vibrant every day. So again, Michelle, thank you very much. As Michelle said, my name is Brian Stevens, and it is my distinct honor, a tremendous privilege, and especially on days like today, a great pleasure to serve this region as the President and CEO of the Hampton Roads Chamber. The chamber that is unapologetically pro-business. The chamber that is aggressively seeking to create a pro-business environment right here in Chesapeake, throughout the region, and in fact throughout the Commonwealth, as we partner with other like-minded organizations to bring the Commonwealth of Virginia back to #1 in the nation for a state for business. That is our goal, that is our objective, and we're doing that for you, the business community. It is my honor and the honor of the Chamber to host the Chesapeake State of the City again this year, and on behalf of our Board of Directors and our thousands of members, I want to thank Mayor Rick West. I want to thank the Chesapeake elected officials, and I want to thank the Chesapeake City staff for all their leadership in moving the city of Chesapeake forward. And speaking of staffs, I'd like to compliment the Hampton Roads Chamber staff, the Chesapeake City staff, and of course the regional convention center here staff for all that they do. As you can imagine, a venue of this size is very complex, and it takes a lot of hard work behind the scenes to bring it together. I also want to thank in advance our wait staff, and let's give all the staffs a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to get us officially started, I'm going to ask you all to rise for the presentation of the colors and the singing of the national anthem. The presentation of the colors will be by the Chesapeake Public Safety Honor Guard, and the singing of the national anthem will be by Regina Burden, a valued member of the City Clerk's team. Color Guard, present the colors. please retire the colors.
Order. Going. Hey. Order.
I want to thank the color guard and Regina again. Regina, I don't know where you are. I can't see you, but can you say American Idol? That was fantastic. Thank you so much for that beautiful rendition. Let's give her another round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We have a number of elected officials and special guests with us today, and I'd like to take a few minutes to recognize them. First of all, as you know, our Congress is in session, but we have representatives of our congressional delegation here. It is my pleasure to introduce the representative for Senator Mark Warner, Drew Lumpkin. Drew. I also want to recognize the representative for Senator Tim Kaine, Diane Kaufman, is with us. Representing Congressman Bobby Scott, Ncaa George Winkler is with us. She's over here. And representing Congressman Donald McEachin is Sylvia Murphy. Let's give our representatives a round of applause. We have, I believe, 7 of our state legislators with us. And as I call your name, if you would stand up, and let's hold the applause until all 7 stand up, and then we'll recognize them. Senator John Cosgrove, Senator Luis Lucas, Senator Lionel Spruill Sr., Delegate Kelly Converse Flower, Delegate Cliff Hayes, Delegate Matthew James, and Delegate Jay Leftowich. Let's give our General Assembly members a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. I think that this is a history-setting precedent today in that we have 6 of our regional mayors in attendance with us, and I'm so honored. I see that Mayor Dyer's made it, so we've got 6, and I think this is truly emblematic of the growing spirit of regional collaboration, and I'd like to introduce our mayors, and if you would stand, I'd appreciate it. Obviously, our host mayor, Chesapeake Mayor Dr. Rick West, is with us. I also want to recognize his wife, Vicki. Thank you for being here. Suffolk Mayor Linda Johnson. Newport News Mayor McKinley Price. Norfolk Mayor Kenneth Alexander. Virginia Beach Mayor Bobby Dyer. And Portsmouth Mayor John Rowe. Let's give all of our mayors a round of applause. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce the Chesapeake City Council, and again, as I call your name, please stand and let's hold applause till I've recognized all of the City Council members. We have the Vice Mayor, John Detroquet, is with us. Councilman Steve Best. Councilman Matt Hamill. Councilman Robert Ike. Councilman Dwight Parker. Councilwoman Debbie Ritter. Councilwoman Susan Vitale, and Councilwoman Dr. Ella Ward. Let's give our City Council a round of applause. I also want to recognize and really thank the great work of the Chesapeake City School System and their board. The superintendent, Dr. Jared Cotton, is with us. Chairwoman Victoria Prophet, Samuel L. Boone Jr., Thomas Mercer, Jeff Bunn, Colleen Leary, and Michael Woods. Let's give the school board a round of applause. Thank you so much for what you do for our children. We have several Chesapeake constitutional officers with us. I'd like to recognize the clerk of the court and the former mayor of this great city, Alan Krasnoff. Commissioner of Revenue, Frank King. Sheriff Jim O'Sullivan, Treasurer Barbara Caraway, and Commonwealth Attorney Nancy Parr. Thank you. Also from the city of Chesapeake, I'd like to recognize Fire Chief Edmund Elliott, Police Chief Kelvin Wright, City Clerk Sandy Madison, and City Manager James Baker. And Jim, I don't know where you are, but I'd like to take this moment just to thank you for your years of service as City Manager here in Chesapeake. I know that you're retiring later in this year, and again, we just want to thank you for all that you've done for this city. Let's give them a round of applause. We have several members from other city elected officials, specifically Portsmouth. We have Councilwoman Lisa Lucas Burke, Councilman Paul Battle, and Councilman Shannon Glover with us from Portsmouth. Thank you for coming. And from the city of Suffolk, we have Councilman Lou Ward with us. Thank you, Councilman Ward, for being here. I also want to recognize a couple of true patriots that have meant so much to the city of Chesapeake and have done so much for the city, this region, the state, and in fact, the entire nation. I'd like to recognize former Congressman Randy Forbes and his lovely wife Shirley are with us. Thank you. Thank you for being here. We appreciate all that you've done. We have some regional leaders with us today. You know, I was talking about regional cooperation, and there's a lot of more regional cooperation going on than what many may know about. I've got the distinct honor and privilege of working with regional leaders on a daily basis, and we've formed a group in order to work together in a collaborative fashion under the concept of collective impact. And I'd like to recognize some of those today that are good friends of mine. Mr. Sean Avery, President and CEO of the Hampton Roads Workforce Council. Sean. Mr. Steve Herbert, President and CEO of the Hampton Roads Economic Development Alliance. Steve, thank you. Mr. Bob Crum, hopefully he made it over from his meeting, Hampton Roads Planning District Commission and Transportation Planning Organization. Bob, thank you for being here. Mr. Kevin Page, doing so much for our transportation system here, Executive Director of the Hampton Roads Transportation Accountability Commission. Mr. Jim Spohr is with us, the President and CEO of reInvent Hampton Roads. Jim, thank you for all that you're doing with reInvent and Go Virginia. And of course, William Harrell, the President and CEO of the Hampton Roads Transit. William, thank you so much for being here, sir. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I'd certainly be remiss if I didn't recognize the chairman of the board for the Hampton Roads Chamber, Mr. Martin Joseph, President and CEO of 360 IT. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give all of our special guests a big round of applause. Thank you for coming. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to recognize our sponsors for today's event. We just couldn't put on events like this without the generosity of our sponsors. So appreciative of our series presenting sponsor, Town Bank. Don Glenn is with us. Don, thank you so much for all that Town Bank does for this community. And you'll hear from Mr. Dave Roth here in a minute. Thanks, Dave. Our city host sponsor is Chesapeake Regional Healthcare. And again, you'll hear from them with their president and CEO, Reese Jackson, here in a couple of minutes. Our member spotlight sponsor is Dollar Tree. We have Chris Williams, Vice President, Portfolio Management and Development with us. And again, we'll hear from him shortly. Our Platinum Series sponsor is Bon Secours Virginia Health System with Paul Gadden is here. Paul, thank you so much for all that you do in support of our community. Our Gold Series sponsor is Geico. We appreciate all that Geico does. Our series Building the Future sponsor is Franklin Johnson Group. We have 8 Silver Series sponsors. I'd like to recognize them now. AB&B Federal Credit Union, Brightview Landscape Services, Langley Federal Credit Union, Hampton Roads Workforce Council, Norfolk State University, and I do want to recognize with Norfolk State that we have the distinguished President, President Stith with us, sir. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. Optima Health, Trafix, and Verizon are also Silver Series sponsors. Our Spirit in Motion sponsor is Norfolk Southern. Our series radio sponsor is Sinclair Communications. I saw Julie earlier. Thank you, Julie, for all that you do. Our series magazine sponsor is Virginia Business Magazine. I know Bernie Niemeyer is in the room somewhere. Bernie, thank you so much for all that you do. If you are in business in Hampton Roads and you don't subscribe to Virginia Business Magazine, you really should look into it because it gives you a statewide perspective of what's going on in the business community throughout the Commonwealth. Our nonprofit leader sponsor is WHRO. Bert, thank you so much for all that you're doing in support of our community. Our audiovisual sponsor is Chesapeake's very own Elite Audio and Visual Elements. Thanks, guys. You make us look good, make us sound good. We appreciate and enjoy working with you. Our venue sponsor today is Chesapeake Conference Center. Venue Works, sitting back here at table 77. I want to let everybody know what a pleasure it is to work with Troy Thorne and his entire group here at the Chesapeake Conference Center. They're professional in every aspect of the word, and they truly know what customer satisfaction is all about. I would also like to thank Russell Ferguson, who is Venue Works Vice President, and again, he has come in for this particular event. So welcome, Mr. Ferguson, and thank you for being here. Also sitting at their table, number 77, back here is our 2019 Miss Virginia, Emily McPhail. Emily, would you stand up and be recognized, please? Thank you. Now, there's a photo op for you. Go grab Emily afterwards and get a photo op with our Miss Virginia. Thank you for being here. Additionally, I want to thank our program and table sponsors. You'll see their names on the back of the programs. We want to thank them so much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give all of our sponsors a big round of applause. Now it's my distinct pleasure to introduce a good friend of mine and an outstanding executive, Mr. Reese Jackson, our city host sponsor, to provide you some welcoming remarks on behalf of Chesapeake Regional Health. Reese.
I have to admit, I'm still thinking about the national anthem, and if only I could speak like Regina sings. But it is good to be an American, and it is good to be engaged in civil discourse like this. And I'd like to thank Brian and his team. I think the Chamber deserves a round of applause. And Mayor West and members of City Council, thank you for your support and your superb leadership of our community. Though I've personally been on board just a few years, I grow daily in my appreciation of those civic leaders that took the better part of a decade to open the doors of Chesapeake Regional in 1976. And each and every day that I work at Chesapeake Regional, my pride and love for the organization grows. And I count the blessings to be an independent organization whose sole purpose is to serve a region that includes the city of Chesapeake at its core. And speaking for everyone associated with the hospital, it is an honor to serve the healthcare needs of the citizens of Chesapeake and surrounding areas. With more than 2,000 employees, nearly 500 volunteers, and 800 physicians, we treat nearly 15,000 inpatients annually, perform over 17,000 surgical procedures, and share in the joy of over 2,500 births. The hospital is changing and ever improving. Ratings, scores, and financials are all on the upswing. And now we have the opportunity to build upon the legacy of the generation that gave us life by making considerable investments into this city's future. We are embarking on an ambitious master facility plan and ambulatory site development plan. Key objectives include additional provisions for obstetrics, cardiology, the neurosciences, oncology, and yes, parking. This evening, our foundation is sharing a vision to expand and redesign our chapel. Like yesteryear, local church, business, and government leaders will gather in the hospital's main lobby to launch a chapel renovation campaign. It heartens me to better serve patients, families, and staff with a welcoming environment to worship and to pray. We are also opening a retail pharmacy in South Norfolk this summer and expanding our wellness model to vulnerable populations with the collaborative formation of a food pharmacy in South Norfolk to address the food insecurities that are prevalent in certain areas of our city. We couldn't do these things without the support of everyone in this room. Without your support and patronage, we would not exist. Serving you is our purpose, and I believe that's the same sentiment the other sponsors today would also express if they were up here. So thank you. I appreciate your listening to me. Thanks.
Thank you, Reese. We appreciate all that you do. Now it's my pleasure to invite Dr. Carlton McLeod, Senior Pastor with Calvary Revival Church, Chesapeake, to the podium to give our invocation. Sir?
Well, good morning. Let's bow our heads for prayer. Heavenly Father, we come today asking your mercy and blessings upon our beloved city, upon our mayor, upon the city council, upon city officials, and all these wonderful business leaders who are present. Merciful God, your word declares, unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. And unless the Lord watches over the city, the watchman stays awake in vain. Truly, Lord, you have kept our city. Since our founding, official founding some 5.5 decades ago, you've watched over Chesapeake, allowing it to grow in every way. You have blessed us with good leaders in every sphere, men and women who work tirelessly to keep residents both safe and prosperous, a wonderful business community that sows good ground into our precious community. And by your grace, you've made our city one of the best places to live in the entire country year after year after year. So we would be remiss if we did not simply say thank you. Thank you for your sovereign grace. Thank you for your merciful provision. Thank you for your divine wisdom, and thank you for your undeserved blessing. Now, great King, please continue to lead and guide the men and women in this room. Grant them understanding, give them wise and discerning hearts, bless their businesses, that our community too might be blessed. Your word declares, by the blessings of the upright is the city exalted. Let that be the testimony of the city of Chesapeake. And please, Lord, bless our food as we fellowship together. In Jesus' name, amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you so much for coming to the Chesapeake State of the City today. And I know that most of you are still enjoying your lunch. Please continue to do so, but for the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and get started. As we do, I want to recognize a couple of people that I missed earlier. First of all, we're blessed to have the Norfolk City Councilwoman, Andrea Mclellan, with us. Andrea, thank you so much for being here and showing your support. I also want to recognize the Chesapeake City Attorney, Jacob Stroman, is with us. Jacob, thank you so much for all that you do for the city. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome Chris Williams, Vice President of Portfolio Management and Development for Dollar Tree, to give us an update on the Summit Pointe project and the investment Dollar Tree is making in its headquarters right here in Chesapeake. Chris.
Good afternoon, everyone. If you attended this event last year, you heard Dollar Tree's chairman, Mr. Bob Sasser, describe the exciting changes coming to Greenbrier, including the expansion of the Dollar Tree campus and the development of Summit Pointe. Since that time, the Summit Pointe development team has been hard at work, planning, designing, budgeting, forecasting, negotiating, bidding, sometimes arguing, and now breaking ground. We have a short video to share today that reflects on what we said last year, where we are today, and what's on the horizon.
Something special is happening in Greenbrier. Great companies are attracted to great places. Almost 10 years ago, as Dollar Tree continued its strong, consistent growth into a world-class retailer, the vision for this development began to take shape. Dollar Tree is working with the City of Chesapeake and the Commonwealth of Virginia for the development of a dynamic, new, state-of-the-art business campus. I'm pleased to announce today, along with the City of Chesapeake, that our vision is becoming a reality and is well underway.
This is the beginning of a new downtown Chesapeake.
That was the spring of 2018, as things were starting to take shape at Summit Pointe. We've come a long way since then, with the completion and occupancy of the Dollar Tree Tower in the fall of 2018. In June 2019, we are bringing together two great brands. We will have the capacity to serve nearly 2,300 associates. Phase 2 construction at Summit Pointe is now underway along Bel Air Avenue. This includes the first 133 residential units of about 600 total living units with ground floor retail space, as well as a 6-story, 150,000 square foot office building featuring its own uniquely designed restaurant and retail spaces. Summit Pointe is a distinctive urban mixed-use community singularly focused on quality amenities to attract the world's top-tier talent. The Summit Pointe experience embodies a dynamic, thriving community in which to live, work, and play, serving as a vibrant economic growth engine for Chesapeake and a social hub for coastal Virginia. Let's look into the future of Summit Pointe. Welcome to Summit Pointe, a new vision for an urban lifestyle community. To stay relevant, great companies look for great places to locate, a place appealing to their purpose and their people. That place is Summit Pointe. Located in the dynamic Greenbrier business community of Chesapeake, Virginia, Summit Pointe is coastal Virginia's newest and most notable urban lifestyle community, anchored by the iconic Dollar Tree high-rise office tower housing more than 2,300 employees. With a singular focus on quality and the amenities to help you attract the world's top-tier talent, the development of Summit Pointe rests on 3 uncompromising core principles: the best people, the best companies, the best community setting. Summit Pointe has already become a premier office location due to the Dollar Tree campus expansion. Other regional companies now have the opportunity to relocate to Summit Pointe and enjoy the same advantages in attracting and retaining the very best talent available to ensure their business success. As a premier business location and community asset, Summit Pointe is where people can socialize through business, shopping, and living experiences. An area that employs the best time-tested planning principles in every facet of its design. Along Bel Air Avenue, high-rise corporate offices, urban living, patio-centric restaurants, and unique retailers will blend into an upscale lifestyle experience. This represents a $300 million down payment on a transformative new downtown for coastal Virginia. Urban apartments over ground floor retail, restaurants, and amenities are already under construction on 2 blocks, and planning is well advanced for additional apartments, retail spaces, and amenities on an adjacent block. Outdoor entertainment venues blend nicely with the established streetscapes and outdoor dining options. Other office and retail opportunities are beginning to take shape on a 3rd block with a 2nd distinctively designed 6-story, 150,000 square foot office building. More specialty-themed restaurants, outdoor patios, and boutique retailers combine for a lively street scene throughout the day and evening. If you're looking to take your business to the next level with the best people, the best companies, and the best community setting, Summit Pointe in coastal Virginia is just the place for you.
Special thank you to Advante Advertising. The lights are kind of bright. I can't see those guys, but they're here somewhere. Where are you? There they are. Nice job, guys. So the first occupant of Summit Pointe is, of course, Dollar Tree. Our campus is now home to over 1,300 associates and growing. By year end, we expect to have approximately 1,900 associates working at our store support center. This photo is from a job fair we held at our office back in January, and it attracted over 1,300 people. Just an example of how our company is growing, and we have a major hiring effort underway. I'd like to take just a moment to introduce our Summit Pointe development team, and I think they're spread out pretty well here. And first off, Burl Saunders, Stand up, Burl. Our visionary and architect extraordinaire, Burl's team. I think Saunders Krause Architects has a couple people here. Stand up, guys. Take credit. There you go. Paul Kreckman, our financial guru and the guy that keeps us all in check. Thank you, Paul. Christian Childs, our Dollar Tree real estate attorney, could not be here today, but he's been an integral part of our team, and we call him the voice of reason. Bob Gant, stand up, Bob. Director of Facilities for Dollar Tree, and affectionately known as Bob the Builder. He doesn't have his hard hat today, but our general contractor, Clancy and Thays, I think they have a contingent here somewhere. Where are you, Clancy? Stand up, Clancy, where are you? Bill Goggins, Chad Calgar, and team, thank you very much. Those guys have been working really hard for us. For our leasing and property management, we've retained the services of Colliers International. Again, lights are bright, so I can't quite see where they are, but Colliers, if you're here, please stand. Perry Fraser, Pat Mugler, Chris Reed, Jeff Parker. Kimley Horn has been our engineering firm from day one. Randy Royal, Jeremy Yee, wherever you guys are. There's Randy with his bow tie. For the management of our residential units, we've hired Drucker and Falk. Wendy and Tara and team, I think they're here somewhere. Thank you, guys. I'd also like to take a moment to thank Mayor West and City Manager Jim Baker, Director of Economic Development Stephen Wright, and their staffs for working with us to make Summit Pointe a reality. We are very excited to begin construction of Phase 2 and continue the planning for Phase 3. Together, we will watch Summit Pointe become a special community for coastal Virginia. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm David Ropp, Chesapeake President of Town Bank. It's a pleasure for me to be here today to welcome you to the Chesapeake State of the City Address. Town Bank is honored to once again be presenting sponsor for the series of 5 State of the City addresses. Each year, these events bring together hundreds of business, civic, and community leaders from across Hampton Roads. Town Bank shares the vision of Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce to help businesses succeed, drive regional economic growth, and improve life for residents in our communities. Town Bank opened in 1999, which means this year we are celebrating our 20th anniversary. Town started small as a loyal group of people that came together in Bob Aston's garage with a dream of developing a hometown bank. The goal was to create a great community asset. It was all about building friendships and relationships and bringing people together. We wanted to create a strong sense of belonging to make people special every day they walked in through the doors of Town Bank. The bank officially opened on April 8, 1999, with 3 offices, one in Chesapeake, one in Portsmouth, and one in Virginia Beach. We have come a long way since those days. Today, Town Bank has 41 offices throughout Hampton Roads, the Richmond area, and North Carolina. Our newest opened last month in Greenville. We are so excited to bring town's unique hometown banking to the area of North Carolina. Over the years, we have continued our commitment to supporting hundreds of local charitable organizations through donations, scholarships, and grants. Since our founding in 1999, Town and the Town Bank Foundation have contributed $56.9 million to the communities that we serve. Today, I am honored to introduce Mayor Rick West. Mayor West was first elected to the Chesapeake City Council in May of 2008 and was re-elected in 2012 and 2016. Dr. West was elected as vice mayor in 2016. In November 2017, the City Council selected him as mayor to serve the unexpired term of Mayor Alan Krasnoff, who began elected as clerk of the Circuit Court. Mayor West was then elected to a full term as mayor in May of last year. A lifelong resident of Chesapeake, Mayor West spent more than 30 years with the Chesapeake Public School System, retiring as principal of Greenbrier Middle School. He currently is a licensed realtor with Rose & Womble in Greenbrier. Dr. West earned his bachelor's degree in social studies from Old Dominion University, a master's degree in education from the University of Virginia, and a doctorate in leadership from Virginia Tech. He serves as a member of the Hampton Roads Military and Federal Facilities Alliance, the Hampton Roads Transportation Planning Organization, and the Hampton Roads Transportation Accountability Commission. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Rick West.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. David, thank you so much for that introduction and for the privilege of speaking here today. Thank you as well for honoring our city with your presence here. You know, this is a significant event for our city each year. And as I look around this room, I am once again humbled to be afforded the privilege to give voice to the state of our city. That voice would not, indeed could not, be complete without recognizing many of the individuals who helped shape the state of our city. I know they've already been recognized, but I want to thank our neighboring mayors for being here today. You know, they do not live in Chesapeake. They do not vote in Chesapeake. They have no legal authority in Chesapeake. Yet their presence here today, this afternoon, reflects the respect that we have for one another and the commitment that we have to work together to find solutions for the challenges of our respective cities. It also reflects the belief that we collectively share that despite of all the waterways and Hampton roads, we understand that no city in today's world, no matter how large or how successful, can be an island unto itself. Finally, their presence has a symbolic effect. Their presence here represents thousands of residents across our region, and it underscores the reality of what our differences might be. But we are far stronger when we're working together than we could ever be apart. So thank you so much. And by the way, Bobby, congratulations for that little event you had this weekend. Seriously, it was a great success for your city and such a positive impact on our entire region. We're so grateful and thank you for a job well done. So in the same manner, I am grateful for those members of our state and federal legislative delegation who represent us in Richmond and in Washington. These leaders are truly partners for Chesapeake, helping to carry forward our needs and our initiatives while securing support for projects to help our city advance. Your presence here means a great deal. Thank you for what you do. And it goes without saying that this event would not be possible without the Hampton Roads Chamber. So to you, Brian Stevens, thank you. To Dean McLean, Priscilla Monte, Princess Monte, and your entire staff. Thank you for not just what you do here today, but for all that you do all year long to keep our economic engines moving forward in our region. Thank you. I also want to recognize the group of 8 men and women who have been elected by the residents of Chesapeake to serve our city council. We all come from different backgrounds, bringing skills, expertise, and interest shaped by a lifetime of public service and a desire to see our city prosper. We are blessed to live in a city in which so many talented leaders who could actually fill these seats. But like the 80-plus men and women who have previously served over the past 56 years, we want to make the most of our entire time and our efforts. We don't always agree on issues. Neither did the men or women who came before us, nor those who will follow us. But that's okay. Healthy debate is a positive force and one that will help us see sides of an issue that we might not have ever considered at first. But in the end, the 9 of us come together on that dais at City Hall and make decisions that we believe are in the best interest of our city and our citizens. And I would like to thank them and ask you once again to please stand and let us thank you for your commitment to our city. You know, Chesapeake has always been a city known for the importance that we place on families and relationships. I mean, that's really what makes us who we are. So I don't want to miss this opportunity to thank my wife, Vicki, and recognize some of the other relationships that are so important to my life. Vicki truly is my best friend, and she is the love of my life. And without the support of my lifelong friends, Randy Forbes and his wife, Shirley, Ray Connor, Will Langford, Margie and Harry Blevins, the Torrich family, I would not be standing here today. Family is the cornerstone of my life, and I am deeply grateful for their love, for their support, and the blessings my entire family extended has shared with me each day. It is important also to recognize the 245,000 individuals for who, whatever reason, have chosen to make Chesapeake their home, and the thousands more who work here, shop here, get their medical care here, worship here, and even visit here. I know they cannot all join us today, but if you look around, you represent them all. One individual who could be here today, however, is Mrs. Rose Ward, the wife of former Mayor Dr. William E. Ward. Bill spent his life fostering that spirit of coming together despite our differences, all for the common good. He is the man for whom this very room is named, a fellow educator, a good friend of mine, and I know of many of yours as well. In his tenure as Chesapeake's longest-serving mayor, Bill Ward showed us how important it is to work with people at every level. He helped shape Chesapeake's place in the international business stage. He brought infrastructure of every sort. And he never forgot the importance of serving and partnering with our residents in projects both big and small. Chesapeake is built on a foundation of strong, forward-thinking, goal-oriented leaders. Dr. William E. Ward shines as a cornerstone of that foundation. So, as I mentioned, Bill's wife, Rose, and other families are with us here today, and I'd ask you to please stand so that we can show our appreciation. That speaks volumes. There's a display in the rotunda which captures the many sides of Dr. Ward's life and career. And if you haven't already, please take a moment on your way out and have a look. It is an amazing tribute to an amazing gentleman. As I was preparing for this address, I asked myself again and again, what should this address be about? You know, traditionally, it has been a time when we gather individuals and groups who have done good things for our city, and we thank them for their efforts. And I do not want you to think that because I'm not doing that today, that somehow I do not feel it is important to recognize and thank those who have done and are continuing to do so much for our city. We simply are not who we are. We would not be who we are without them. Yet to seize this time, to seize this moment, is not to seize the past, but to seize the future. If you ask me about the state of the city, I must say that it is not that we own yesterday. It is not even that we own today. It is that we will own tomorrow. We will honor our past. We are proud of our past, but we are excited about our future. Recently, the University of Virginia won the Ncaa basketball national championship. I knew that was coming. Whether you are a supporter of the Wahoos or not, you have to be inspired by the interviews of the players. When asked the secret of their success, one of the players said that their coach told them to run to the finish line. He taught them not to run to the finish line. He taught them rather to run to the start line. And as I travel around this country and visit city after city, I hear many people focusing on getting across the finish line. But they have two major problems. First, they do not have the right finish line. And if they measure that line simply by the height of their buildings or the vastness of their economic investments, their lines are different than ours. Our finish line is building of communities where individuals want to live, work, raise their family, and help their dreams take flight. We will never forget that. Their second problem is they all too often, they cannot reach their finish line without going back to the start line. To get there, they must first tear down yesterday's mistakes. And one of the most exciting things about living in Chesapeake is the fact that as much as any city I know, we can be excited about running to the start line of tomorrow because we are in a great position to write our own future without having to demolish our past. Therefore, with all the challenges facing us as a city, the most important question that we must ask ourselves is whether we will actively prepare for tomorrow or be content simply to accept its consequences. If we choose to prepare for tomorrow, there are many ingredients that will offer us a recipe for success. I believe there are three indispensable things that we must do and three that we must avoid. First, we must do the following. Number one, think strategically. Now, this is more than mere planning. It requires listening, it requires considering, creating, and getting the correct balance between our resources and our goals. Secondly, we have to get better at articulating our strategic plans so that our residents can understand them. And third, we have to implement. And at the same time, there are three things that we must avoid. We must not be distracted by the voice of those who feel that their single group speaks for the 245,000 residents of our great city. There simply is no such single group. Secondly, we must avoid the voices of those who would have us prepare for tomorrow by simply doing nothing. And finally, we must be cautious of the voice of those who would have us make the perfect become the enemy of the good. Chesapeake has come a long ways in the 56 years since the city of South Norfolk and Norfolk County merged. Previous councils had to find a way to grow two distinct entities, a county and a city, into a single, strong, thriving community. They had to merge the needs of an agrarian culture with those of a more urban lifestyle. And they had to do it all in the context of a dynamic, growing, and developing region called at the time Tidewater, Virginia. It was no small task, but you and I are here living in the results. When I was a boy, Chesapeake was a very different place. What we know as Greenbrier was a nursery. Today, there are restaurants, shops, homes, and a thriving hub for economic activity, providing entertainment, jobs, and tax revenue for the residents of our city. Once in a while, I think to myself, I would like to go back. I would like to revisit that nursery. But every day, I know there are thousands of Chesapeake residents visiting the shops, the restaurants, the movie theaters, and the offices in Greenbrier. And I know the benefit of those visits that provide to our families. I am grateful that they planned for the future. When my son was a boy, if you traveled to the South Battlefield Boulevard in the summer, you would spend a considerable amount of your time admiring the scenery as you sat and waited in traffic. For those who lived along that route, they would spend their weekends watching tourists, literally bumper to bumper, as they sat trying to get out of their driveways. Today, of course, you can zip right along down the Chesapeake Expressway, and those residents are no longer held as summer hostages in their own driveways. I am grateful that they planned for the future. Less than a decade ago, if you were operating a business that needed to move product along 17 to or from North Carolina, or if you needed to cross the Intercostal Waterway from Cedar Road, you had to allow time for an opening of a draw span at the steel bridge. Today, it is a speedy, scenic trip over our awesome Veterans Bridge, with boats gliding peacefully and unobtrusively below. I am grateful they planned for the future. I am proud to say that during the 10 years I've been on council, Chesapeake has seen a total capital investment of $1.9 billion. Yes, that's B as in billion. Almost $2 billion in 10 years. And what's equally as exciting is our business communities have added almost 13,000 new jobs over those same 10 years. We have been planning for the future. One of our biggest challenges on City Council, and has been and will be, creating an infrastructure to accommodate whatever the future holds in our city, balancing our desire to protect open spaces and our agricultural heritage with the opportunities tomorrow will bring. It takes a great deal of our council's attention, as we need to ensure infrastructure at every level meets current and future needs. But thankfully, we have two amazing resources. First, it is our truly phenomenal staff, the men and women who spend countless hours every week working to balance those competing desires and get the best outcome for both sides. It's not easy work. And they, like members of the City Council, can't always make everyone happy. But let me say, for the record, we on the City Council cannot be 1/10 as effective in our task if we did not have those professionals on our side. Our city staff is second to none when it comes to commitment, creativity, and laser focus on the goal of serving the public. We are also blessed with vital tools to shape Chesapeake's future, starting with the comprehensive plan. This multidimensional, multidisciplined document serves as a roadmap, a foundation, if you will, a starting point for development decisions. It is a living document, and later this year, the city will embark on a major update, pushing our planning window out to the year 2050 and beyond. There will be many ways the public can offer input on this plan, and I hope that each of you will take time to share your thoughts, your visions, and your goals with the plan development team. Partnerships are critical, and there are many in our region, especially in Hampton Roads, that are benefiting so many of our citizens. So let me just highlight just a few of those projects. Perhaps the greatest challenge every city and our region as a whole today face is transportation. Here in Chesapeake, we're keenly aware of this since we consider ourselves to be the hub of Southside, bordering as we do on every other city. Let me assure you, though, that progress is being made even as I speak. Just look at the partnership between VDOT and HR TAC as they have worked together for the widening of Interstate 64, the high-rise bridge project scheduled to be completed in 2025, and most recently, the expansion of HRBT in the tune of $3.8 billion. Transportation, though, isn't just about cars and trucks, or streets or roads. It's about public transportation. And we've got some great things going for us here, too. Hampton Roads Transit has been working diligently with state, local, and federal leaders, along with citizens throughout Hampton Roads, to change the culture of public transportation. William Harrell and the Hampton Roads Transit Commission are seeking alternative funding to make public transportation a system of choice for citizens all around our region. William is a native son of Chesapeake, and we're so glad to have him on our side in this important endeavor. Thank you, William. Long speech. We also are partnering with our longtime allies at the Army Corps of Engineers to replace and expand the bridge over the Atlantic Intercoastal Waterway in Deep Creek. There's no question that this is one of the most anticipated, needed, and welcome projects in Chesapeake history, particularly for those who travel that corridor every day. The Corps is pushing hard to get the preparation work done so that the shovels can get into action, and we are looking forward to that day when this traffic choke point will transition into a historical memory. See some creakers. So from this podium, I can see you glancing at your smartphones. We're all addicted and dependent. There's no denying that technology growth is the greatest opportunity, yet the biggest challenge any city faces today. Hampton Roads is poised to become a showcase for turning those challenges into opportunities, thanks to the ongoing regional broadband initiatives. And we here in Chesapeake are working closely with our technology partners, including Cox Communication and Verizon, to leverage ways to make our larger infrastructure advances resonate with a better faster, more accessible service for all of our citizens. We're getting closer to the day when Chesapeake is a fully connected city, and I'm confident that with the measured and thoughtful approaches we are taking will pay dividends for years to come. The rise of technology is just one area highlighting the need for skilled and available workforce. That goes really for all types of jobs, from tradesmen to technicians and everything in between. Fortunately, our area is blessed with not one, but two strong agencies focusing on just that need. With the South Side and the Peninsula Workforce Development Organizations teaming up, the pool of talent to fill the jobs that make growth possible is virtually unlimited. Partnerships, though, aren't confined to the infrastructure side. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard of CAST, C-A-S-T? It's Chesapeake Area Shelter Team, and it's just one of many innovative partnerships between the city and our thriving faith community. Working with volunteers and city staff, churches rotate weeks during the colder months to house, feed, and provide services for our homeless population. We're also excited to welcome Cypress Landing, a 50-unit apartment complex for homeless and disabled veterans, which will open this summer. Thanks to the Second Act communities, While Chesapeake doesn't have the homeless challenges of some of our neighbors, the need is no less real here in our community. Partnerships like these are just one way we're addressing this, along with working to encourage more affordable housing options and providing services for those needs at every level. It is on this humanistic side of government that our commitment to participate shines brightest. Ensuring a strong quality of life for Chesapeake residents is among our leading goals. It is one we've always known that we could not achieve alone. From groups engaged in protecting our environment, enhancing the services of our libraries, our recreation centers, and reaching out to the elderly and special needs population, the city and staff are open, ready, and willing to partner with anyone bent on doing good in our community. Arguably, our largest partner, and certainly one with whom we continue to make tremendous strides, is the Chesapeake Public Schools. Blessed with a strong school board and the fresh, dynamic leadership of our Chesapeake native, Superintendent Jared Cotton, our schools and students excel in so many, many different ways. Many people are surprised to learn that the city and the schools are actually two separate entities. And if you look at how closely we work together, it is truly difficult to define the lines in many cases. Drawing lines, though, is one of the biggest challenges our school leaders face. No one likes to talk about kids changing schools or the dreaded R word, redistricting. But as our city evolves, it is simply a fact of life. In the past 10 years, annual new housing occupancy has grown about 3% each year, while school enrollment figures have remained almost flat, while I've added about 40,000 students per year. Well, this tells me that while some of our schools may have crowding issues, it is more a matter of distribution of students versus overall capacity. That is a challenge that our school board and Dr. Cotton's team are meeting head on. The answers likely won't be popular, but the need to find that balance is critical. One of the most exciting partnerships initiatives on the school front is our work to design and build shared athletic facilities around our city. These multi-purpose facilities will bring benefits to students and residents alike. offering opportunities for both competitors and spectators. They will give our students the facilities their skills merit, and they will help the city attract events on a regional and wider basis, adding to the coffers of our businesses in so many areas. Academic partnerships don't stop at high school either. We're working closely with our partners at Tidewater Community College to help shape the future of Chesapeake's campus and its diverse offerings. And let me tell you, if you haven't visited TCC off Cedar Road recently, you need to drop by and see those gorgeous, technologically advanced new construction. It's a long way from the old Chesapeake College campus, let me tell you. You heard from Reese Jackson just before lunch, and we are so proud of our partnership with Chesapeake Regional. The hospital has grown dramatically in its 40-plus years, but they show no signs of slowing down, as you heard earlier. From their new state-of-the-art interventional neurological suite, to their cutting-edge use of robotics, to the new critical care tower that will break ground later this year, Chesapeake Regional is a facility and a family of professionals that we are so fortunate to have in our city. Now let me tell you about Chesapeake's most engaged partner, in our quest to be a superb city in which to live, to work, and to raise a family. It's you. It's you. It is the members of the business community. Chesapeake is a home of international firms like Sumitomo Machinery, doing business and making things happen all over the world. We're home to businesses making capital investments like Cloverleaf Cold Storage, and businesses adding jobs like Standard Calibration. But just as important, we are also home to smaller firms of every shape, size, and mission. They're making life better for our neighbors right here in Chesapeake. Firms like RFK Solutions, the Chamber's Chesapeake Small Business of the Year. You will be able to read more about each of these firms along with a look of the overall numbers in the annual report that you will receive as you leave today. We also want to applaud South Norfolk's own H.E. Williams Candy Company. They are celebrating 1 century, 100 years, providing sweets to our community and beyond. So be sure that you sample their delicious offerings on the table today, and then stop by and visit and watch the magic happen. Chesapeake business leaders are being recognized regularly for their work and their commitment and their drive to succeed. Among these are Roberto Ortez, President and CEO of AVMAC. They were recently named the 2019 Small Business Person of the Year in Virginia. Congratulations, Bert. We are so proud of you. We're equally proud of my former City Council colleague, Susie Kelly. She received the Sorensen Leadership Award from the University of Virginia. From leading Joe Kell Incorp as their CEO to her many active involvements in our community, Susie personifies the Chesapeake spirit of working together and leading the way to a bright future. Susie, thank you for all you do from all of us. We were talking earlier about Greenbrier. Today, as you drive down Volvo Parkway, you're treated to view of our newest landmark, the glittering home of Dollar Tree, and the anchor to Summit Pointe development. To say the change has been remarkable would be a gross understatement, and there's still more to come, as you heard earlier. We are so pleased that Dollar Tree has called Chesapeake their home, and we thank them for their continued commitment on both our business community and to the city, our city as a whole. Thank you, Dollar Tree. Last year at this time, I stood at this podium and I announced that the city's intention to acquire the Aqua Virginia Water Company's service assets in the Indian River area. Well, I'm extremely pleased to report today that not only has that acquisition been completed, but as I speak, people in that area are enjoying clean, fresh city water and even some new, prayerfully never have to use, fire hydrants. We are hopeful that this purchase and the increase of water pressure it brings will spur the development in the Indian River Shopping Center, while also serving as the catalyst for even greater things for residences and businesses alike. Again, we are looking to the future with the actions that we're taking today, just as Chesapeake has always done. There are plenty more exciting things coming soon to Chesapeake. In the near future, we'll welcome the start of construction on a $20 million corporate home for 4 kids, a local leader in assisting families. They have chosen to make South Norfolk home in what has been another demonstration of partnership as the community has rallied to welcome 4 kids with open arms. No plan for our future can ignore our businesses, the fun lifestyles that we want. We've got retailers of every sort. We have the finest restaurants anywhere, as my waistline can attest. We have service industries who provide excellent workmanship, quality services, and so much more. Plus, Chesapeake is home to the craftsmen and the small and the mid-sized farmers and others who help us savor our rural heritage. As we help you plan for your future, you are helping us plan for ours. We want to partner with you to make both yours and our future brighter. So balancing our cherished rural past with the exciting opportunities of a prosperous tomorrow is a challenge my city council colleagues and I wrestle with every day. We put into place a number of very successful programs to maintain our natural areas, including the Open Space and Agriculture Preservation Program that has helped purchase and protect many areas in the future. It's not an easy task, this balancing act. We can't always make everyone happy, but I think that you will agree that we're doing all we can to ensure our children and their children can continue to enjoy Chesapeake we've come to love. Chesapeake strives to be a city for living and working, and we are mindful that our success is unquestionably tied to that of the Hampton Roads region as a whole. I like to tell our city staff that, in my view, we can be competitive only if we're cooperative. We and other Hampton Roads cities must work together for both our mutual benefit and, in many cases, our mutual survival. Now, let me be clear about this. Working together does not mean sacrificing Chesapeake's individual identity, nor its right to make decisions that are in the best interests of our residents. Rather, by sharing resources, partnering in projects and development plans, and being part of a strong team, we can all benefit. It's like the old saying goes, a rising tide raises all boats. And I don't know about you, but I, for one, want to see Chesapeake's tide of progress and success as always on the rise. It is in our interest to partner with our neighboring communities, and I'm all in. Doing what it takes to ensure a strong, healthy, fiscally sound, and prosperous future for tomorrow's Chesapeake is a job that I and my City Council colleagues take very seriously. So I want to take a moment to recognize another individual who exemplifies the concept of positive partnership for our city. When City Manager James Baker arrived in Chesapeake 6 years ago, it was during a time of challenge and change. There was much to be done, and Jim hit the road running. He brought us a new forward-looking service-based budget process, along with a focus on looking beyond the short term for future goals, even when those ideas couldn't be fleshed out in the present. His leadership and his supportive management style at every level of the organization will pay dividends for decades to come. But that's not all Jim Baker has done. He has taken a leading role in bringing the Hampton Roads chief administrative officers, his peers, together as they share ideas and opportunities and challenges. Through his many efforts, Jim Baker has helped create that rising tide and lifted many, many boats. We're saddened that Jim has decided to retire this fall, but I want to take this opportunity to publicly thank him for his efforts and wish him Godspeed. Jim, please stand and let us show how much we appreciate you. Chesapeake is a city of leaders, quite simply because we're a city of partners. The best leaders know that by working together, seeking common goals, and practicing the art of compromise, and reaching for the greater good, we will all benefit. Our city's history stretches back to leaders who fought for independence, met the challenge of civil war, went off across oceans many times to help secure a peaceful world. And they did this all while they were building a strong, thriving, growing community here in Chesapeake. We owe so much to the leaders of the past. Mostly, though, we owe them our pledge to continue to be leaders of today and tomorrow. We won't always make the most popular decisions, nor sometimes even the ones that history will show to have been the best. But it is up to us to work together. We may not always succeed, but we will never stop trying to do everything in our power to make certain that Chesapeake is prepared what for tomorrow might bring. You know, I used to enjoy reading about the news or reading the news or watching it on TV. I can't tell you I still enjoy that. It seems that we are awash with those who want to saturate us with bad news. The result is that we are often afraid to turn the corner and look tomorrow in the eye. But not here. Not in Chesapeake. I remember reading long ago a description of a very successful woman. Of all her endearing qualities, the one that jumped out at me the most was when the writer said, she smiled at tomorrow. Here in Chesapeake, we will always smile at tomorrow. And we will do that not just because of our beautiful waterways, or our harbors, or our buildings, or our roads, or our conference center, or our skylight. We will do that because of our people. I said at the beginning of this address that I was humbled to be here. Perhaps I should have said more accurately that I am surprised to be here. I have walked the streets of this city since it was born. Not always, however, as mayor. I was a young boy carrying with me on that walk the baggage that life can sometimes saddle us with. Few would have said then that he will one day be our mayor. Fortunately, though, along that walk, there were friends, there was family, mentors, and leaders, many of whom are here today. They were willing to walk along with me and help me find where I was going. Often people ask me, what are Chesapeake's greatest assets? I now know that answer. Chesapeake's greatest assets are those men and women, some in this very room today, some in our classrooms, our boardrooms, or walking our streets, carrying what others may look at as unwanted baggage. Men and women who, if they have friends and families and mentors and leaders who will walk with them for even part of their journey, will buy us a ticket to reach the place Chesapeake is destined to go. So how will this city prepare for tomorrow? What will separate us from so many others? It is that we will never stop looking for those special men and women. It is that we will never judge them by the baggage that they carry. It is that we will help surround them with family, friends, mentors, and leaders. It is that we will never grow weary in helping them do what they were born to do, change the world. This is who we are. This is what Chesapeake is. And I want to thank you for being a part of that. And I'd like to leave you with one famous quote from Margaret Mead. She said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." Are you ready to be part of this group, a thoughtful, committed citizens? Are you ready to challenge of leading Chesapeake into its bright future? I am, and I hope you will join me in this most worthwhile and most vital task. There's a place for you, a job for you in the process, and a need for your skills, your talents, and most of all, your insights as we shape tomorrow's Chesapeake. We're better together. We're stronger as a team. And we are, all of us, a vital part of a city that cares. Thanks for being here today. I now declare the 2018 State of the City adjourned. May God bless you and continue to bless our great city. Have a great day.